Hello, card runners. This is Ville bringing you part 3 of Climbing Mount Micro PLO edition. This time we're doing a leak finder. This footage I'm about to review is courtesy of CardRunners member Casanova, who appears to be playing a similar screen name on PokerStars for tables of PLO 10. I think we can just jump straight into the action. Okay, we're dealt raggy jacks on table 4. Case decides to fold them to a pot-sized steal from the small blind. That's fine. So there's not a whole lot of value trying to set mine 3 ways. Okay. We get to see a free flop on table 3 with our raggy hand. Flop bottom pair plus jack high flush draw on a fairly disconnected flop. Since we're blocking the flush draw and there's not a whole lot else going on this board, I don't actually mind a stab. Even if he were to call us with top pair or perhaps an over pair, we would still be doing okay equity-wise, and given the occasional fold equity, I think stabbing here is just fine. Okay, now Case decides to fold the double-suited ace 9-9. I think I would have played that in the cutoff, but folding it from middle position is just fine. Okay, Case is thinking about completing on table 3, but decides not to. It's whatever. I think I would have completed there. Also, on table 2 we had the double-suited deuces, which he decides not to isolate a limper with, which is also fine. Obviously we would have flopped the world. I think we would have had 2 backdoor flush draws. Okay, we complete on table 4 and get a decent flop with top 2 plus nut gutter. Also a nice hand on the button on table 3. Okay, let's back up just slightly. Ace, king, jack, 8, single suited to the king. That's a really nice hand on the button. But Case decides to fold it against the cutoff open. His opponent does seem to be playing fairly tightly with 21-14 pre-flop so far, and is opening for pot. While we're not necessarily ahead of his range here, I think we really need to defend our button. Defending our button in PLO is definitely a lot more important than defending our blinds. While we're getting a much better price from the blinds, especially from big blind, the button is where we make the most money by far. And in this case, we shouldn't really be thinking about how we're doing against the cutoff's opening range, but rather that we're playing a pot in position with a decent hand, and we have a loose player in the blinds who seems to be playing 80% of his hands so far after 10 hands. So we definitely don't mind calling and inviting him into the pot as well. On table 4, Case decides to go for a check call. It's fine. I personally wouldn't minded leading and just taking the pot down whenever we're good and getting some info on our opponent's hand at the same time. The turn is an ace, which is obviously not a great card for us. If Villain, for instance, was value betting top pair, top kicker on the flop. Now Case goes for a value bet of just under half pot. After Villain checked back the turn, there's obviously a really good chance our hand is good. But I think I prefer going even a little bit smaller here, perhaps like 20 cents, as then we have a better chance of getting value from a hand like King-Queen. But there's not really a whole lot of difference. I mean, it's still under half pot and it's a fairly small bet, but I think the optimal sizing would have been slightly lower.